Welcome everyone to the Empower Hour. I am your host Hanifa
I am Al Kumar.
and we are your hosts each and every Thursday at 6 p.m. where we come here every week, once a week, to discuss various topics, taboo topics that affect our community. Today is no different. We have a guest that's actually returning, the Minister of Wellness himself. You guys may have heard of him, you may have seen him on YouTube. He's usually all over the internet. You probably may have even seen him on our show. But today we will be discussing health and wellness. What more appropriate time than now? Most of us are getting ready or recharging, changing our diets. We have New Year resolutions. So we figure what's more appropriate than now? January, the beginning of the year. So we wanted to bring the Minister of Wellness on because he did such an awesome job the last time, and he is loaded with information and facts and also resources. So we welcome you, Minister of Wellness. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you all. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great, great.
How are you?
Good.
And
I'm doing good.
Before we get started, we just want to let our audience know if the Minister of Wellness is up on our screen here, and you can also see him yourself if you join on ELife Media Group on Facebook. Right now, we're streaming live. They're at ELife Media Group. That's the Facebook page, and you can see the entire program, very clear and concise, right there at that link.
Good.
Thank you so much, Minister, for joining us once again. And we know your schedule is so busy these days. I've been following you religiously, and I see that you are traveling. Actually, you look like you're in a hotel room now.
Yes.
Yes. I'm down here in Orlando, Florida. So anyone who's in Florida or close to Orlando, come on down. I flew in today, had a safe trip, and this is my last event in January. I'll be speaking Saturday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. and I need to get the exact address. It's at a very large church in Orlando. And food will be included. Living My Best Health, that's the name of the event. Of course, is listed on my page, the Minister of Wellness. And if you go to Eventbrite, Living My Best Health. But that's where I'm at currently in Orlando, Florida. The week before then, I was in Mobile, Alabama. Before that, I was in Houston, Texas. Then my event, January 4th, we had people that came from Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Detroit, Dallas, all over the nation. We had attendees that attended my January 4th event in St. Louis. So this month has truly been a blessing, and this is just the beginning.
Absolutely. We're so grateful that you had time for little old us still while you blowing up into big time over there. So yeah, and it's well deserved. Not another person on earth is more deserving to be listened to in the subject matter of health and wellness than you. I really think so. You got a pulse beat on really what's going on and solutions. You know, we hear about all the issues as it relates to our health, but you coming with the solutions. So that's what we want to talk a little bit about today.
Yeah. So tell us what has changed? What's been going on since the last time we saw you? What's been happening? What has been? Give us some testimonies that you want to share with the audience since the last time you were on the program.
Yes. 2019 was an amazing year. When at my event January 4th, it was absolutely incredible to see people attend the event whom my videos propelled them to lose so much weight that they showed up to the event smaller than me.
Wow.
And that really motivated me. One brother, Nate Duncan, March 2019, he was 275 pounds. He started binge watching my videos on YouTube. And because I'm so detailed and I have so much free information out there for people to follow. He showed up. So March he was 275, and he showed up to the event 9 pounds smaller than me, 185 pounds, January 4th.
Wow, in less
Lean.
than a year.
Lean. Yes, yes. And I had a brother, Robert, same thing. He, in 2019, he came across me, 200, he was 285 pounds. He saw my video when I was trying to scold our people for eating, what I call boo-boo chicken. And he said at first it completely turned him off because he was like, well, I ain't gave up pork, I ain't gave up all the bottom feeders and so forth, but now you're trying to tell me that I can't even eat chicken. But he kept on watching the message because if anybody listens to me, my passion comes from a state of love. Open rebuke is better than secret love. You don't just sit back and watch somebody destroy themselves. You know, you have to tell people the truth, especially when it comes to their health. Well, 285, and he showed up January 4th, 180. So he lost 105 pounds. I have a brother currently. I have to check on brother Demetrius, but he had, as of a couple months ago, he had lost 200 pounds in 8 months. He had gone from 470 to 260. And as a matter of fact, he appeared on the Carl Nelson show last time I was on, and I believe that was December the 3rd. Radio show, and the list goes on and on. People reversing people reversing high blood pressure. So it's truly a blessing. And one of the things that I had several people, and one of the reasons why it's important to have these many success stories, and this is just a few. We could dedicate the whole hour to actually diving deep into the stories behind these people and more. But it's very important because there is unfortunately a rising mentality among our people that we can't be healthy because of the stresses of battling racism. And I've had people send me articles and want me to do videos on how racism causes overeating, and I refuse to do it because me personally, it's a bunch of nonsense. I refuse. No one is going to sit there and convince me that the reason why I'm not in top shape is because some outside force is making me put something in my mouth. I'm not in top shape because of the decisions that I make, and I want everyone to have that mentality. That is absolutely dangerous to believe that there is a system that can make you eat yourself to death and feed your children dope food. Absolutely not. We get the knowledge, and once we get the knowledge, each of us as individuals, we're responsible for doing the best that we can. And my success stories that God has blessed me to have. Oh yeah, I had a brother that reversed autoimmune disease. He had what's the name of that autoimmune disease? He had bumps all over his body. I believe it was psoriasis. Yes. He from New York City, and he reversed psoriasis. And these are all black people. I had a sister that reached out to me in the emergency room, and she said the doctors wanted to rip her gallbladder out, and I told her she didn't have to do that. Okay, and she ended up reversing gallbladder disease. I have a sister that's reversed breast cancer. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about there's some force at work out there that can cause us to be, that can cause us to be unhealthy. I refuse to accept that, and I don't want anybody that listens to me to accept it. We will be victorious. We will have the victory. We will win, and we will overcome any situation that's thrown at us. We will.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that. And that is so important. I'm glad you touched on that. Blaming the outside world for our own personal shortcomings and misdeeds. And even you said once we get the knowledge, it's our responsibility to live it. Live that information. And not just that, it's our responsibility, those of us who do have the knowledge, to share it with those who don't. And I think we should be in a better place when we all get that type of understanding,
Yes.
instead of hoarding information and thinking that I got it. You get it however way you deem fit. That's one of the things I admire so much about you, Minister, is that you're willing to share. You're willing to share with whomever, and I think that's goes to your success these days, is because you are so open and generous with the knowledge that you have about these issues.
Right. Well, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to jump into some of the things, here lately. Probiotics has taken like a big front and center place in the health world. More and more people are talking about it and using it. I myself use probiotics for gut health. Can you talk to us a little bit about probiotics and the benefits or lack thereof of the
It's
product?
it's very important. Probiotics are very important. Actually, there's 12 components of food addiction. Excuse me. There's 12 components of food addiction, and that's the basis of the lectures that I've been doing as I've been traveling the nation. Because if you don't understand food addiction, you're going to fall off, and then you're going to reach a state of hopelessness, and that's when, once you reach a state of hopelessness, that's when you just completely give up. And we don't want people to get to that point. So the eighth component of food addiction is called bad bacteria, BAD bacteria, and that comes from eating a junk food diet. We are what we eat. It doesn't matter what our brains tell us, and that's my brain included. We can sit here and believe in moderation and a little bit won't hurt all we want to, but that's not reality. The reality is that what we eat either poisons us or is giving us the strength and the medicines we need to live long, healthy lives. Most of us are choosing not to do that. We're choosing to eat to die. And when you choose that, when you put poison into your system, one of the things that it does is it compromises a healthy gut. That's called the gut microbiome, healthy gut flora. And 70% of our immune system is in our gut. So it's very important, and the gut health is linked to overall body health. Gut health is health. So if you don't have a healthy gut and you're eating junk foods, and these junk food builds bad bacteria such as Candida albicans that can fuel all of these diseases we're suffering from, and it can fuel cravings, which is the second powerful component of food addiction. So yes, we want to eat foods that support the growth of healthy bacteria, which is called probiotic. And the best way to do that is through diet, of course. Now, for people who have autoimmune disease, cancer, yes, they do have supplements out there, but whenever man starts making stuff, you had better be careful of what prebiotics that you take. You first want to always clean the diet up first, because there's no pill or potion or lotion that's going to overpower eating a nutrient-dense plant-rich diet. And the worst thing that you could, and of course, it can overpower the biological cause and effect of not eating to live. Meaning, you can't take a prebiotic pill and that's going to overpower a cheeseburger as cake and ice cream. Or you can take a prebiotic, and that means that it can make up for not eating, greens and beans and onions and mushrooms and berries and seeds. But I do sell prebiotics. I sell a supplement for the gut to help expedite to supplement. But we have to keep in mind, a supplement is just what it is. We keep wanting to make it more than what it is because we're lazy. That's the ninth component of food addiction, energy conservation. We're a pill for every ill type of society. And even the great doctor, Laila Africa, he knows much more about herbs for this than I do. But he always say, you can't sprinkle some herbs on McDoodle and expect for it to make you healthy.
So you since we're on the gut, before we move on from that, I know that I've read numerous times in different articles about the gut being the second brain, and I was just trying to see if there was any like connection to what you're talking about. Because if your gut isn't healthy, and they're talking about it being the second brain, and it has just as much what is it, nerves in it, as I might not be saying it right. I read this a long time ago, but since we're talking about the gut, I'm trying to find out if there's any connection to the function or the purpose of the healthy gut as far as it pertains to our lives, and the gut being the second brain.
That's true, and I've done videos on that. How gut health is linked to depression, anxiety, is linked to is definitely linked to autoimmune disease. Absolutely, yeah. Because again, 70% of our immune system is in our gut, in our colon. So that's very true. If we're not eating correctly, and nourishing our body, our immune system, which is located in the gut, then the whole body is going to malfunction, especially mentally. That's the first. That's where we feel it first. Is in our brain, and that's why we have so much mental illness, so much anxiety, so many suicides. And I've been hearing about. I don't watch the news because I don't like keeping up with all of this negativity, but I've heard about all the shootings that continue to perpetuate our society. But again, no one wants to talk about the link between gut health and brain health. And if your brain isn't working properly, that can lead to societal ills such as violence, but no one wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
So we want to eat fiber-rich foods rich in fiber. That's your first source of prebiotic. The first way that you build a healthy gut is
Okay.
What is some of the signs of a healthy gut? How can someone know that, they have a healthy gut? Is bowel movements of the other? Because I'm sorry, let me just say why I'm asking this. I found out recently that a lot of people are not having regular bowel movements, and they actually believe that that is normal, because people are moving their bowels twice a week, 2 times per week, and they actually believe like that's okay. They're not going every day, and that's their norm, right? So I guess when we're talking about healthy gut, is that also connected to the amount of bowel movements that people are having? And if someone is irregular, is that a sign of unhealthiness?
absolutely, that's dangerous, because that means that if you're constipated, then the constipation, which means that you're backed up with fecal matter, is going to get released through another means. So it get released through the mouth, that's bad breath. It get released through the skin, that's your acne. It gets released through the underarms, that's why we have to dump all these deodorants on ourselves. There has to be relief. We become a garbage disposal that's not releasing the garbage. It's very dangerous. Eating a fiberless diet, less than 3% of Americans eat 25 grams of fiber a day. And that's the fiber is a medicine. It's a high power vacuum that sweeps away toxins in our gut. And that's the government standards. My standards of excellence is that we should be consuming more than 50 grams of fiber in a day.
What's some examples of good fiber we should be eating on a regular basis?
G-bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. The diet should be so heavily based in greens that your stool should be green.
Okay.
Yeah, well, lots of dishes rich in green vegetables. That's the most nutrient dense. There's over 700 different medicines in a piece of broccoli. One piece of broccoli has 700 different medicines. There's no way man will never ever be able to give us something that can replicate a piece of broccoli. And I don't care what they do to the soil. They can try to manipulate nature all they want to. But a piece of broccoli has 700 natural medicines in it. It's so powerful that even if you put it in a powder form, you give it to autistic children, their symptoms start to improve. Sulforaphane, that's a medicine in broccoli.
Yeah,
That's just one.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
beans.
was always under the impression that broccoli was a hybrid vegetable. No.
Yeah, some people that's a belief system among a lot of health gurus that we shouldn't eat vegetables that were created through breeding different plants. I don't agree with that, but I mean, if somebody believes that, then I don't have a problem with that. You're going to have a hard time eating anything because man has been mixing and matching plants for thousands of years. So yeah, broccoli is two different types of cabbages that was mixed thousands and thousands of years ago. And I'm talking about going back to like ancient Rome. I mean, so to try to go back, and that's something Dr. Sebi was working on, where he was literally tracing the origin of every single thing we eat, which is why the diet he recommended was extremely restricted, and most people have a hard enough time eating the G bombs that I recommend. So when you start trying to say, well, I'm only going to eat the foods that existed when we were first created, thousands, or if you even believe millions of years ago, all I have to say is good luck to that.
My partner and I did it for a month, maybe over a month, the alkaline diet. And when I came out of it, even though I felt better, and you talk about like inflammation, I know he had some in his knees, like you feel the difference. So when it was time for us, we were talking about going back, and that was the first thing I said. I appreciate it, but it is extremely restrictive. And so I like pineapple juice, and I was like, if pineapple juice, I mean pure pineapple juice from the pineapple, if it's not doing me any harm, I don't really understand why I have to restrict myself from it. So I was having a hard time because it is extremely restrictive, even though you definitely reap the benefits and you feel the benefits. But I also understand, being a vegan myself, that I can clean up my vegan diet even more and not necessarily follow Dr. Sebi, but there's always room for improvement. My question to you is, what have you noticed is one of the biggest barrier for us to take control of our health?
Good question.
Food addiction. That is the barrier. We're food addicts. It's not the knowledge. When I speak Saturday here, again, for anybody watching in Orlando, Florida, I've arrived here safe and sound, and I'll be speaking Saturday, 12 p.m., 3 p.m., living my best life. That's what you can find it on Eventbrite, and it's the food addiction. That's what I'll be talking about. Is what are the 12 components of food addiction, and how do we overcome them? It's not the knowledge, because I have all the knowledge and I'm still not in tip-top shape. Well, how is that possible when I know exactly what I'm supposed to do? I've helped coach over 200 clients, and you can look at, and I'm thankful that I'm as good as I am, because I know some people talking about health and have the knowledge I have, and they flat out fat.
Oh yeah.
How does that happen when you have somebody who has all this knowledge about what to eat, what not to eat, and they not just not in top shape, they actually fat? Well, that's because of the food addiction. Yeah, the food addiction. So that's the barrier. If you don't, the foods is drugs. I mean, it's pretty much like legal terror. I mean, I drive down here to the holiday, to the place that I'm staying, and that's all you see. All it is, just junk food. You can't go nowhere without a bunch of junk food. That's what we do in this nation. We eat. I go through the airport, and all it is junk food. You go to the gas station. You can't even buy You can't even go to a doggone Office Max, for Pete's sake. For crying out loud, I can't even buy paper. without junk food
Pass all
there,
the snacks.
staring me at my face, you know. So
You,
that's what we do in this nation. We drug food addicts, and
yeah.
that's the barrier. I give people the knowledge. People want to make all these excuses about, oh, well, it's this or this system or that system. Listen, I go and I have all these success stories from black folks. I go on and post videos, and people don't want to hear it. Most people have no interest in hearing this information. I have to come up with negative topics just to get people to watch the video, because if I post a video if I post a video saying, here's how it is, sisters. If I post a video and I say, white person puts this in black person's food, then
Views.
it'll get
Views.
100,000 views.
Yep.
So
But
true.
if I make a video and say this brother took control over his own life and lost 200 pounds in 200 days, the man lost 200 pounds in 200 days. But if I post that video, I'd be lucky if it gets 300
It's
views.
crickets. That's real.
Yeah.
That's the sensationalism of media. Everything is sensationalized, and I've I've come to the realization that most of us don't want the solutions.
But that's what he's talking about when he says like laziness, and
We don't
which
want
is a
it.
part of the addiction. But my question is, if there's an addiction, how do we begin the steps? Where do we start to break that addiction? Because when I think addiction, I think like something that has a hold of you. So how do someone take the necessary? What are the necessary steps that someone would need to take to begin to break themselves or get free of that addiction?
Well, that's the whole point of the tour. People, that's the focus of the lecture and the knowledge. It starts with knowledge,
Okay.
and again, it's about that's why I'm on the tour that I'm on, and I'm trying to get back on the East Coast. I'm in touch with a couple of pastors from Baltimore. However, I don't just speak at churches, but for right now, it's mostly, which is a good thing. The black church has really stepped up to the plate, and they're the ones hosting me in all of these different cities. So I'm trying to get back out there to you guys. But it's about the knowledge. When you come to my seminar, you want to come with notebook and pen. It's very unfortunate whenever I see people and they sit in there and I'm glad that I'm able to hold people's attention, but you should have a notebook and pen and you should be taking notes. And so that's what it's about. A lot of lives have been empowered through my seminars this January. Then on my YouTube channel, I have a 28-part health seminar series, and I meticulously go over in detail each component of food addiction. I go over the G bombs. Also, I have a 28-part health seminar series on my YouTube channel, The Minister of Wellness. You have the power of the G bomb, so you can learn what to eat and why. That medicine is in food. Then you have the 12 components of food addiction and the fundamentals of eating to live. But if you don't put health on the pedestal all the way up to almost the level of whatever belief system that you're in, however, whatever your religion is, religion, faith, spirituality, whatever name you want to give it, whatever that is, if your health and taking care of your health and overcoming your addiction, if it isn't right up there with that, you're not going to make it, because we're bombarded with this, and you have to bombard yourself with knowledge about what they're putting in the food, what are they putting in the vaccines, and that's knowledge that a lot of people aren't willing to take. I mean, I don't speak about half of the stuff that I know. I don't speak about 95% of the stuff that I really know, because it's too scary for most people. You know, what they're doing to the food, what they're putting in the meat, how they flavoring these processed foods, what are they putting in the vaccines. It's an abomination.
Yeah, yeah. I always tell the story was hit me smack in the face of my realization about food and the addiction part, especially with sugar. Is I had Jackson. I had to go to the emergency room a couple of years back, and I noticed that the only thing they had in the emergency room for folks to eat on was a snack machine bar with nothing but cakes and chips and candy bars in the emergency room. That's when it hit me like, wow, we really got an issue here. But I'm gonna talk exercise. What kind of advice would you give to those who are very active in their lives that don't really have a lot of room as far as time in the day for a strict exercise regimen? What do you recommend for those types of people? Any kind of like tips or things that we can take advantage of, like we're, you know what I'm saying, in the midst of what we're already doing in our day-to-day lives, that we can get some exercise in as opposed to going to a gym?
Yes, I can, but what I want to say is I don't let people give me the I don't have time excuse, because the reason why we make time for things that we have to do and what we have to have. If you don't have to work out, then you won't work out. So it's all about how much of a priority it is, and we're going to find time to do it. Wake up earlier, and you'll find time to do it. Don't watch no entertainment, and you'll be surprised how much time you have when you go 30 days without watching nothing if it doesn't have anything to do with helping you to accomplish the goals you have in life. Eliminate it for 30 days and watch how much time you have.
Social media, elimination of social media alone will do that.
Shut up, Truth.
Right. Yeah. We start scrolling down timelines looking at foolishness, and we've been consumed already with a whole bunch of stuff. I know for me, if I start clicking on the next big fight coming up, and all of a sudden I spent 1 hour sitting here going over the male version of a soap opera, which is fights. He said this, he talked this trash, he did this trash. So we waste a lot of time, and so that's not an excuse. We need to go to bed at a decent time, and we need to get our behinds up early and get inside that gym. Or if you want to work out in your house, you have tapes that they've already made. They already have the system to take away the excuses. You can roll out of bed, for Pete's sake, and put in a DVD, and you can work out hard for an hour. How hard is it to get out of bed, put in a DVD, and work out for an hour right in your living room? Well, it's still hard, because laziness is one of the components of food addiction. It's still hard to do it. Even people that have tapes right there in their living room, all you got to do is literally open your eyes, roll out of bed, and put in a tape. And people can't even do that.
He said roll.
Sit up. Not sit up.
Right. I have Minister, how important is fasting to our health?
Good question.
Very important. Very important. The body, that is the seventh component of food addiction, toxic hunger. And toxic hunger means that the reason why we feel that we have to eat every few hours is because a body that is toxic is painful to detox, because detox can only occur once the body has entered a state of fasting. Now, your body enters the state of fasting officially 3 hours after your last meal. So right when you eat a meal, you're in the anabolic phase. Your body is breaking down the nutrients, the carbohydrates that it needs for energy. And then you enter what is called the catabolic phase, when your body is living off of the stored glucose, sugar in the liver, called glycogen. That's called glycolysis. It's during glycolysis that your body can heal. Your immune system can start working to heal. But when you have a lot of toxins, pollutants, and waste in your cells, that healing process creates withdrawal pain that we Americans, we call hunger. Our stomach growls. That's the waste mobilizing in the gut. We call stomach growling hunger. We get fatigued. We get headaches. We get lightheaded. We start acting like that fool on the Snickers commercial. And we think that that's hunger. Like in the Snickers commercial where he hallucinates and goes bipolar and schizophrenic and gets mad and angry and turns into a cranky old woman. And then you say, hey man, you're hungry. And you give him a Snicker and then he turned back into a calm young man. That's foolishness. That's not hunger. That's toxic hunger. And those symptoms start to come when you enter a state of fasting. So people are too uncomfortable to fast. But when we eat to live and we detox truly, which can only be during a state of fasting, what you'll find is that your perception of hunger will change from a stomach and head sensation to a mouth and throat sensation. And then you're able to go long hours without eating. And that's healthy. The longer you can go in between meals, which is called intermittent fasting, the healthier you'll be. We have to eat as little as possible to be healthy. But the only way you can comfortably eat as little as possible is the food has to be packed with micronutrients, medicines. Because medicine foods, you will have eaten only 1,000 calories and you'll feel like you've eaten 10,000 because the medicines and the fiber, it makes up for the lack of calories. Whereas when we're eating the dope foods, it's the opposite effect. You can eat 20,000 calories of fried rice and in 2 hours later, you back at the next buffet for round two.
I was just listening to a lady today doing some information about food, and she had mentioned it really doesn't matter when you eat, when you break your fast, when your breakfast is, as opposed to what you eat. She's like, some people prefer to eat first thing in the morning, others prefer to eat when they're hungry, maybe around later. And she says none of that really matters. It just really, when you break your fast, the main thing is what you're breaking it with. The time factor is not the biggest issue. What would you say to that?
I completely agree. That was very, very intelligent what she said. That's true. Yeah, I don't eat, when I eat one meal a day, so I eat between the hours of 11. I usually don't eat until after 11 a.m., and that's breakfast. So technically, per the definition of breaking a fast, if you only eat one meal a day, then you only eat breakfast. All this lunch, dinner, snacks, and snacks in between the snacks and all of this stuff. And I mean, that's just, again, the dope foods are designed to keep you coming back for more. And this is an acceptable part of our culture. I was just listening, I was talking about wasting time and how easy it is to waste time. And that's why we make lame excuses about not having time to exercise when we find time for what we feel like we have to do. Well, when I was on the getting off the airplane, I started wasting time watching a bunch of comedy clips from that real, the obese brother, Bruce. And it was, he's hilarious, but at the same time, it was sad listening to him make a joke out of him being an obese glutton. It's sad. It's like, and then of course, it's like everything he was saying, I talk about in my food addiction still. Like he was cracking jokes about how he hates skinny people. Well, if I had a pill that could take away his addiction and make him skinny, he would do it in a heartbeat. He was just, talking about his love for food and, I burn this place down if we don't have if they run out of Popeye chicken and I can eat 50 wings. And like most of his jokes was centered around how much of an obese glutton he is. And that's sad. And you have thousands of people just laughing and laughing and laughing. And that's our culture.
And he knows it.
Wow, that's interesting. If you're just tuning in, family, you are listening to the Minister of Wellness, Nathaniel Jordan. He's talking to us about optimum health. He's currently in Florida, so if you guys are in that area and want to see him live, where are you going to be there, Nathaniel?
Yeah,
Where?
yeah, and I'm trying to yeah, because it's living. I know the link to look it up is living my best life, living my best life, health and wellness. And let me get that the exact address. I'm in Orlando. It's in Orlando, Florida. Living my best life. Of course, my Facebook page is the Minister of Wellness. So it'll be held at New Life Church of God in Christ. That's 3311 North Powers Drive in Orlando, Florida. That's New Life Church of God in Christ. It's a huge church right in the heart of Orlando. 3311 North Powers Drive. I was booked to speak by Pastor and Sister Rose. Pastor Ricky and his wife, Sister Rose, they found out about me, got motivated, and they are teaming up. They've been promoting this. I'll actually be on a very popular gospel station tomorrow morning, helping to get a final push. Healthy food will be served. And I just encourage anybody who wants to add me to their city to get in touch with me. I work with all budget levels because the most important thing for me is to get this information out. I should be back in what's that, Woodbridge, Virginia, March the 1st.
Oh, okay.
But however, that's through a church. So I understand there's a lot of people that are watching, and you might not go to church on Sundays. Well, like I said, I speak at colleges, universities, and there's other venues I can speak at. But again, at this time, 99% of the organizations that are bringing me in is the black church, which again I'm excited about because my father was a pastor, and I watched him ate himself to death. So as the minister of wellness, make no mistake about it, I am absolutely excited that the church, in particular, the black church, has seemed to reach a state of such emergency when it comes to the illness and obesity at the church that I am getting a lot of response and lives are being impacted for the better. But again, for those who don't attend church and still want to hear me speak, that's when we need other organizations to step up to the plate.
Absolutely, I agree, and because that's where a lot of us are. A lot of us are in the churches, and that's where the services are needed as well. So, and the March 1st, I wrote that down because I'm hoping we might be able to get you in here around that same time frame, since you're going to be in our area, in the DMV area. So I'll be calling you later about that as well. We don't have a lot of time left, family. If you're joining us, we are talking to the Minister of Wellness about optimum health. Tune into the Empower Hour. As you can see, we tackle impactful topics of discussion that affect our everyday lives. I just want you to talk a little bit more, the minister, about what you were saying early on in the program about blaming others for our own personal shortcomings. And you said you refuse to allow us to accept the fact that racism